Today is not just another day. Today is a portal of power that can change the course of your life if you decide to open it. Napoleon Hill said it clearly. What the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Joe Dispenza proved it in the lab. Your thoughts and emotions create an electromagnetic signature so real that it can attract opportunities, health, and abundance. And here's the secret. When you unite the wisdom of Napoleon Hill with the science of Joe Dispenza, you discover a hidden code that lets you use your mind, not as an enemy, but as the most powerful engine of creation. Today, as you listen to these words, your mind is already broadcasting a signal to the universe. Every thought you have is a seed, and that seed, watered with your emotions, will inevitably sprout into your reality. The question is, what are you planting at this very moment? Faith or fear, hope or doubt? If you let this day pass like any other, your mind will keep broadcasting on autopilot. But if you consciously choose to plant elevated thoughts and emotions of certainty, this Monday will become the beginning of a chain of miracles. Picture this: a luminous seed entering the fertile soil of your mind, and, in seconds, transforming into a tree full of fruit, abundance, healthy relationships, unexpected opportunities. You can plant that seed today. And I want to tell you something important on this channel: the Napoleon Hill Code. Every word we share is designed to remind you that your mind is the key to your destiny. Stay with me until the end, because today, you will not only learn a phrase to activate your power, you're going to discover how to use it to transform your reality from this very moment. Watch how most people start their day. They open their eyes, and instead of directing their mind, they hand it over to autopilot. They get up with the same thoughts as yesterday, feel the same emotions as last week, and act with the same old habits. And then they wonder, why doesn't anything change? Napoleon Hill warned bluntly. The man who does not master his mind is condemned to be mastered by it. And Joe Dispenza explains it with science. Your body becomes a living archive of the past. Every repeated thought releases the same chemicals, and those chemicals generate the same emotions that reinforce the same thoughts. It's an invisible cycle that traps you in a pattern. Ask yourself, are you choosing your thoughts this morning, or are yesterday's thoughts choosing you? Imagine your mind as a vast garden. If you don't decide what to plant, weeds take over everything. Every worry is like an invasive weed. Every painful memory, like a root spreading in silence. And the saddest part is that many people spend years watering those weeds without knowing they're suffocating the seeds of their purpose. That is the invisible pain. Believing your life is a matter of luck, when, in reality, it's being written by your automatic thoughts. The past recycles itself in the present because no one taught them that the mind is fertile soil, and that everything you drop there will sprout, good or bad. Napoleon Hill called this process autosuggestion. What you repeat and feed in your mind becomes your destiny. Joe Dispenza demonstrates it with his studies. Your brain and nervous system record those repetitions as automatic programs that your body executes without question. That's why so many people feel like they're moving forward, but always end up in the same place. Like a traveler walking in circles inside a forest, convinced he's progressing when, in reality, he's never left the same path. The truth is clear. If you don't choose what to plant in your mental garden, the weeds will do it for you. And what you allow to grow today will be what you harvest tomorrow. If invisible pain is living on autopilot, the way out lies in a teaching Napoleon Hill repeated over and over. Everything begins with a burning desire. I'm not talking about a simple, I want things to go well, or I'd like to improve my life. Napoleon Hill referred to an inner fire so powerful that it consumes doubt, burns apathy, and becomes a force that drives you to act even when everything seems against you. Think and grow rich. Napoleon Hill wrote, "The starting point of all achievement is desire." Keep this constantly in mind. Weak desires bring weak results, just as a small fire produces little heat. Imagine your mind as a great garden, as we said before. The burning desire is the luminous seed that decides to grow, even if the weeds try to choke it. That seed has something others don't. A deep root that pierces the earth, and a strength that makes it seek the light, no matter how hard the surface is. But Napoleon Hill didn't stop at the poetry of the metaphor. He taught a practical method to transform that desire into a concrete reality. Autosuggestion. Autosuggestion is the art of speaking to your mind until it believes you. It's taking your burning desire and repeating it with such faith, with such emotion, that your subconscious accepts it as if it were already a fact. Ask yourself, what are you repeating to yourself every day? Because even if you don't call it autosuggestion, you're already practicing it. If every morning you say, "This is too hard, I'm not lucky, things never change," that repetition is also a mantra, only it's planting seeds of defeat in your mental garden. Napoleon Hill was blunt. Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right either way. The key is to consciously choose what you're going to plant. Plant faith and you'll harvest abundance. Plant doubt and you'll harvest obstacles. The mental soil doesn't discriminate. It germinates what it receives. Napoleon Hill explained that the subconscious is like a loyal servant that doesn't reason, judge, or debate with you. It simply obeys the orders it receives day after day, word after word. And here's the secret. Your subconscious doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's vividly imagined with emotion. If you feed it with clear images, repeated with faith, it will get to work to make them real. Imagine this. Every affirmation you repeat is like water falling on the seed of your desire. It can be crystal clear water of faith or poisoned water of fear. And with each drop, that seed either grows or withers. Napoleon Hill understood that repetition is the language of the subconscious. That's why he urged you to write your desire on paper, read it twice a day, feel it as already fulfilled. It wasn't a mental game. It was the daily training of the creative mind. Direct question. If I asked you right now to write your burning desire in one sentence, could you do it clearly? Or is it still fuzzy in your mind? Napoleon Hill said, "A weak desire brings weak results." And the same goes for clarity. When you don't know exactly what you want, your subconscious receives confusing orders and gives you confusing results. That's why the first step of every miracle is this. Define with absolute precision what you want to create. Not, "I want success," but "I want to build a business that impacts lives and gives me financial freedom." Not, "I want love," but "I want a healthy, passionate, stable relationship where respect and mutual growth reign." Not, "I want health," but "I want to wake up every day with energy, strength, and vitality to fulfill my purpose." When you define with clarity, you spark the flame. When you repeat it with faith, you turn the spark into a flame. When you unite it with action, that flame becomes a wildfire that burns through any obstacle. Napoleon Hill knew it. Burning desire is contagious. It flows into your words, your gestures, your energy. And when your environment feels that conviction, opportunities, connections, and synchronicities that once seemed hidden begin to appear. Visualize this: a dark forest where everyone walks aimlessly. Suddenly, someone lights a torch and raises it. That light not only illuminates their path, it also attracts others who are lost. That's you when you decide to ignite the fire of your burning desire. And remember, Napoleon Hill didn't speak of luck or coincidence. He said that every clear desire, repeated with faith, activates invisible forces that begin to work in your favor. Autosuggestion is, in simple words, the bridge between your desire and your destiny. And today, if you want to transform your life, the first step is not to wait, not to beg. It's to light that inner fire and start repeating it until your mind believes it and your life proves it. If Napoleon Hill lit the fire of burning desire, Joe Dispenza took that flame and placed it under the microscope of science. What Napoleon Hill called autosuggestion and faith, Joe Dispenza describes with terms like neuroplasticity, heart-brain coherence, and the quantum field. But in the end, both speak of the same power, your mind creating your reality. Dispenza asserts something revolutionary. Your brain doesn't distinguish between what you intensely imagine and what you actually live. That is, if you visualize clearly and accompany it with strong emotions, your nervous system responds as if it were already happening right now. Imagine your body as an orchestra. Every thought is a note. Every emotion is the force that gives it volume. When you think with fear and feel anxiety, the orchestra plays a chaotic melody that generates more chaos in your life. But when you think with clarity and feel gratitude, the orchestra comes into harmony and begins to play a symphony that attracts opportunities, abundance, and health. And here's the scientific key. That symphony doesn't just stay inside you. Your heart and your brain emit an electromagnetic field that can be measured with instruments. When you think and feel in coherence, that field becomes ordered, clear, and powerful, like a lighthouse transmitting signals to the universe. Reflective question. What melody is your body playing right now? The one of repeated fear or the one of elevated gratitude? The fascinating thing is that every emotion leaves a chemical imprint on your body. If every morning you wake up and repeat the same thoughts as yesterday, your body releases the same stress hormones, and those hormones reinforce the same emotions that trigger the same thoughts. It's a closed loop that keeps you tied to the past. Joe Dispenza calls it living in survival mode. Your mind and body are programmed to react, not to create. And when you live in survival, all your energy goes to worry, defense, anxiety. The result, you disconnect from your creative power. But when you interrupt that cycle and consciously choose a new thought and a new emotion, you enter what Joe Dispenza calls creation mode. There, your body begins to release different chemicals: dopamine, serotonin, endorphins. Your heart beats in a more coherent rhythm. Your brain produces ordered waves, and your energy field expands like a clear signal of what you want to attract. Imagine standing before a calm lake. When your mind and heart enter coherence, it's like throwing a stone into the water. The ripples expand in perfect circles, harmoniously touching every corner of the surface. That lake is you. Every thought and emotion you cast is a ripple that extends through your life, bringing experiences that match your inner state. Dispenza teaches that this process is training. It's not enough to think it once or consent to it for a day. Your subconscious learns through repetition. Every time you unite a clear intention with an elevated emotion, you are literally reprogramming your brain and your body. Ask yourself, what programs are you reinforcing in your nervous system today? The ones of complaint, fear, and routine, or the ones of gratitude, certainty, and abundance? Science confirms it. By repeating a thought with sufficient emotion, your brain creates new neural connections. It's like opening a new trail in a forest. At first it's narrow, barely visible, but the more you walk it, the clearer it becomes until it turns into a solid, wide path. In the same way, every time you think and feel in coherence, you're opening a new neural pathway that tells your body, here is our new reality. Napoleon Hill said that faith is the eternal elixir. Joe Dispenza says that elevated emotion is the key to transformation. Both agree that the secret is not just to think, but to feel the truth of what you think, until your body lives it as real. And here's the miracle. When your mind and body vibrate as if you already lived that reality, the universe responds by aligning circumstances, people, and opportunities that confirm what you planted. Visualize this: a giant magnet that doesn't have to strive to attract. It simply does so by being what it is. Everything compatible with its frequency inevitably draws near. That's you when you train your mind and heart in coherence. Joe Dispenza's science doesn't replace Napoleon Hill's faith, it confirms it. Napoleon Hill spoke of autosuggestion and burning desire. Joe Dispenza calls it neuroplasticity and heart-brain coherence. But the message is one. When your thoughts and emotions align, your entire life changes. Napoleon Hill called it autosuggestion. Joe Dispenza calls it neuroplasticity and heart-brain coherence. One spoke of faith, the other of science, but both, at the core, were revealing the same mystery. What you repeat with burning desire and elevated emotion becomes your destiny. Imagine two rivers that spring from different mountains. One flows from the summit of faith and purpose. The other rises from the mountain of science and modern neuroscience. For miles they seem different, but at a certain point, both rivers merge and form an immense ocean of creative power. That ocean is your mind, when you understand there is no separation between spirituality and science, between faith and neurobiology. Napoleon Hill taught, what the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Joe Dispenza explains, your body does not distinguish between what you intensely imagine and what you actually experience. Both messages meet in the same truth. Your mind is the workshop where you manufacture your life. The difference lies in the words, not in the principle. Napoleon Hill said you should repeat your desires as affirmations. Plant them in your subconscious with the faith that they will be fulfilled. Dispenza confirms that, in doing so, your brain creates new connections, your heart emits a coherent field, and your body begins to live as if that future were already present. Do you realize what this means? It means that when you repeat a phrase with conviction, you're not just practicing positive thinking. You're giving biological instructions to your nervous system and electromagnetic signals to the universe to align everything in your favor. Napoleon Hill called this process burning desire. Joe Dispenza calls it clear intention plus elevated emotion. Both knew that the key is to unite mind and heart, thought and feeling, vision and vibration. Imagine this. Napoleon Hill places the torch of desire in your hands. Dispenza lights that torch with the spark of science. And when you unite both, you don't just believe in your future. You train it. You feel it. You broadcast it until it becomes inevitable. This is the common code of the great masters. It's not enough to dream. It's not enough to feel. It's not enough to repeat. You must think with clarity, feel with faith, and repeat with conviction until your entire being vibrates at that frequency. What would happen if, starting today, you united Napoleon Hill's burning desire with Joe Dispenza's heart-brain coherence? Napoleon Hill said that faith moves mountains. Dispenza shows that gratitude changes your biochemistry and opens new possibilities. Napoleon Hill spoke of planting in the subconscious. Dispenza shows how that reprogrammed subconscious transforms your energy field. They're not different paths. It's the same road seen through two lenses: the lens of ancestral wisdom and the lens of modern science. Mental image, a golden key with two halves. On one side, the name Napoleon Hill is engraved. On the other, Joe Dispenza. Separate, they're incomplete pieces. Together, they form the key that opens the door to your new reality. That's the message. Your destiny isn't written outside. It's programmed within you. And when you unite faith plus science, mind plus heart, Napoleon Hill plus Joe Dispenza, you activate the universal code that transforms any someday into a powerful today. The moment has come for the most important part: application. Because it's useless to understand the theory, be moved by the words, or marvel at the science if you don't bring it into your daily life. Napoleon Hill repeated, "Knowledge becomes power only when it is organized into definite plans of action and directed to a definite end." Joe Dispenza agrees. Change doesn't happen because of what you know, but because of what you practice every day. That's why I want to guide you through a ritual of only 3 steps. A simple ritual, but so powerful that if you apply it today, it can reprogram your mind and body to begin attracting what you desire. Step 1. Define your desire with clarity. Napoleon Hill. The first step is to write your burning desire in a single sentence, not something vague like, "I want success," or "I want to be happy." Your subconscious needs precision. If you want abundance, define what it looks like. Today, I receive unexpected income that strengthens my financial freedom. If you want healthy relationships, today, I attract people who respect me, inspire me, and add to me. If you want health, today my body fills with energy, vitality, and renewed strength. Napoleon Hill said, "A vague desire brings vague results. A clear desire brings clear results." Can you write right now a sentence that describes your burning desire clearly and specifically? Mental image 1. A perfect, pure seed, ready to germinate in the fertile soil of your mind. Step 2. Feel the emotion of gratitude. Joe Dispenza. This is where Joe Dispenza teaches us the science of the heart. Because it's not enough to think, you must feel. Every time you repeat your sentence, pause for a few seconds and feel it as true. Imagine it already happened. Breathe deeply and allow the emotion of gratitude to flow through your chest as if you already held what you asked for in your hands. Why gratitude? Because when your body feels thankful, it releases chemicals like dopamine and serotonin. That tells your nervous system, this is happening now, and your body begins to act in coherence with that new reality. Dispenza sums it up like this: it's not about waiting for your life to change in order to feel gratitude. It's about feeling gratitude, so your life changes. Mental image. Your heart shining like a lit lamp, radiating waves of light that expand beyond your body, touching everything around you. Step 3. Declare it 3 times with certainty. Hill plus Dispenza. Now, unite the 2 forces, Hill's faith and Dispenza's science. Take your sentence and repeat it 3 times in a row. The first time, your conscious mind hears it. The second, your subconscious begins to accept it. The third, your whole body vibrates as if it were already real. Example. Today, everything works in my favor. Repeat it with a firm voice, conviction, certainty. Not like someone making a wish, but like someone declaring a fact. Napoleon Hill said, "What the mind repeats with faith, the subconscious turns into habit." Joe Dispenza explains it with science. Repeating something 3 times activates new neural connections, creating a pattern your nervous system recognizes as important. Mental image. A golden key turning 3 times in the lock. Each turn opens the door wider toward a room full of light. Best of all, This ritual takes less than 3 minutes. Do it as soon as you wake up, when your mind is most receptive. Do it before you sleep, when your subconscious is most open. And if you can, repeat it at a moment in the day when you feel grateful. It's not about quantity, but quality. It's not about repeating mechanically, but repeating with elevated emotion. Every time you do it, you'll be planting in your mental garden, watering your seed with faith and science, and broadcasting a clear, powerful signal to the universe. What sentence are you going to choose to repeat tonight, before sleeping, as if it were already real? This 3-step ritual is not a game or a trick. It's the same principle Napoleon Hill taught almost 100 years ago, and that Dispenza proves today with scientific studies. The union of both creates a perfect code: clear desire plus elevated emotion plus conscious repetition. And remember, every time you practice it, you're not waiting for a miracle. You're creating the conditions for the miracle to occur. Pause for a moment, breathe deeply, and hear this. Your mind is an altar. What you place upon it becomes your world. These are not just pretty words. Every thought you accept as true is like an offering placed on that altar. Every emotion you choose to feel is the incense that lifts that offering to the heavens. And every action you take is the confirmation of your faith. Napoleon Hill said it in the language of purpose. The man who knows what he wants and is determined to get it will find a way even if he sees no way out. Joe Dispenza confirms it with consciousness. When your mind and heart work together, you generate a coherent field that attracts experiences aligned with your inner state. Imagine this. You're standing at the top of a mountain. In front of you, the sun begins to rise, bathing everything in golden light. That light is not the dawn of just any new day. It's the dawn of your new identity, the version of you that no longer repeats the past, that no longer lives on autopilot, that refuses the static of a distracted mind. Today, you decide. Today, you ignite your burning fire. Today, you align your heart with gratitude. Today, you declare your intention 3 times with certainty. What will happen if, instead of postponing your transformation, you decide that today is the beginning of your miracle? This is your moment. Your altar is lit, your frequency is clear, and the universe is already listening to your signal. Today is not just another day. It is the beginning of a new life if you decide to practice this code. Napoleon Hill called it burning desire. Joe Dispenza confirmed it with science, and they both agreed on something. Your mind and your heart are the key to your destiny. Every time you say your sentence, every time you feel the gratitude that it's already real, you'll be activating your creative field. Do not underestimate the power of a simple today, because your future always begins here, now. And if this message touched your soul, I want to invite you to continue with me on this journey. On this channel, the Napoleon Hill Code, you'll find more teachings, more revelations, and more practices to unleash your creative power. Subscribe, turn on the bell, and share this video, because someone you love also needs to remember that today everything works in their favor.